Science breakthrough finally brings justice to a Utah family. The 1984 murder of Brad Perry turned into a cold case, but in 2005, DNA was just coming into the scene. His case was the first time in Utah that DNA from a hair sample was used in court. Behind every crime, there's a story, and the truth matters. Here's ABC4 senior crime and punishment correspondent Marcos Ortiz with tonight's Justice Files.
For nearly 2 decades, Brad Perry's murder remained unsolved. But then this new science called DNA turned things completely around.
My brother stayed home to earn extra money. He didn't want to go with us on this trip because he was going to school. He'd come back from a mission, and he wanted to earn extra money, so he stayed home to work.
So Brad Perry went to work that night at a convenience store in Box Elder County. He was murdered while most of his family was gone.
We got the notification of all notifications while we were in California, and then had to make that long trip from California back here to Utah. Then the rest is just kind of a nightmare.
This composite drawing of the suspect was the only development in the case.
That poster came out in '84, and nobody hit on it.
For the next 21 years, Brad Perry's family waited for an arrest.
And the case went cold.
But in the year 2000, blood DNA was just starting to be used to help solve crimes. Then, in 2005, DNA from hair samples was coming into the picture. A hair follicle left at the crime scene pointed the finger at Glenn Griffin, who was already in prison. Griffin, who was living in Logan in 1984, looked identical to the wanted poster.
Oh, I was ecstatic. I'm like, this is so cool that science has come so far that we can solve these cases.
In 2005, Griffin was charged with Perry's murder and eventually found guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison with no chance at parole.
And I'm grateful for so many people.
Lee Perry tells his story when the opportunity arises, like at this conference sponsored by Utah's Cold Case Foundation. His brother's murder helped shape Perry's career. He joined the Utah Highway Patrol and is currently a member of the Utah State Legislature. Perry says many families are now finding justice thanks to DNA. But he still wonders, what if his brother had chosen to go to California instead of working that night?
He probably would have, he'd have been the doc in the family kind of thing, or been up there doing the great things. And you think about it, it makes you kind of sad about it.
Representative Perry belongs to a club no one wants to be part of, Victims of a Crime. But he's used that as a springboard to become a champion of victims, both as a trooper and a lawmaker. For the Justice Files, Marcos Ortiz, ABC4.